Okay, so let's talk about Pretty Little Liars and then ending, and where do we go from here? Do we get a season 2? Are we done? Who is A? And what exactly happened that was just insane with this connection to the original Pretty Little Liars as well? So before we get into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We'll be doing theories on season 2 as well tomorrow, so don't want to miss out on that video by hitting that subscribe button as well as that notification bell. But let's talk about this ending. Just insanity. So the biggest question, of course, and the one I'm going to answer right away, because that's what you're here for, is who was A this whole time? And I think that was definitely the biggest question throughout, and we got a lot more answers than we were expecting for sure, because yeah, it was great to know who was A, but there were some other characters involved here that definitely served up some more than we were bargaining for. And I just gotta say it, Chip, you let me down. He was a fan favorite from the beginning. After this, definitely hate him. Basically, we get some more insight about what exactly happened to Angela that night, and one of the biggest reveals here is that Tom Beasley, the sheriff, actually was the one who SA'd Angela. So we can't say some words here because YouTube, but you know what I mean. So if you hated Tom Beasley from the beginning, you probably loathe him by the end of this, and I don't blame you. He is such a bad person. So we find out that he actually committed this act on Angela, and this was sort of the triggering point that got Angela to pretty much unalive herself at the end of the dance. We also learned that Angela had a twin brother named Archie Waters, and it is revealed that this was kept a secret from the town because he had a face only a mother could love. That's the way they put it. We also find out that the principal was actually both of their fathers, but eventually was paid out to the mother of them to pretty much distance themselves from him. And although they went to the same school and everything, and he saw all of the berating and the trauma that Angela was suffering through, kept quiet about it because that's who the principal is, right? So very much so, bad dad right there. Turns out, of course, Archie Waters is A, but he was not really the mastermind behind all of this. He was sort of a muscle and a pawn for Principal, who was trying to now get revenge about what happened to his daughter, and was using Archie as a way to do that and sort of keep his hands clean as well. Tom is eventually stabbed by his wife, and this leads him to the hospital. We then find out exactly what happened the night for Tavi and Imogen when they were SA'd, and what led to Imogen getting pregnant from this as well. And we find the culprit is none other than Chip. Of course, this was a big shock, big twist. Didn't see this one coming at all. And I thought that was definitely a way to catch everybody off guard, because from the latest episodes, you would have thought that Chip was a sweet guy who was just trying to be there for Imogen and trying to help her as much as he could, and you sort of fell for him at a point. But after learning about this and how despicable of a person they are, it definitely hits harder about this whole thing, about this trust that they had built, totally broken down at this point. Eventually, through confrontations and everything, we see that the principal and Chip get arrested. Tom is in the hospital, but eventually killed by A as well. We hear about Chip being left out on bail. All of this happens after Imogen gives birth to her daughter, and she actually gives her daughter up for adoption, and we'll find out who exactly this is because this connects the universes at large here. But we find out also that Chip is also getting hunted down by A, and that's how pretty much our show concludes, with him being hunted down. Is Chip dead or not? What happens next? That's pretty much up for interpretation, I think. So we'll definitely have our theories and our thoughts about what's coming up next. And eventually, by the end of it, Imogen does learn what exactly happened to her mother, and it was the guilt that ate her up inside. She wasn't actually killed. She pretty much unalived herself, and that's pretty much what happened there. Is this guilt sort of ate her up about what exactly happened to Angela, and this was sort of the culmination for her at the end. At the end, Imogen does accept what her mother did and doesn't have this resentment that she had for her at the beginning and middle of the show. And we see Imogen give her baby up to adoption, and this pretty much connects the Pretty Little Liars universes together a lot more, because she reveals that the name of the couple who has been trying to have a baby for a while now and who will be adopting her baby are actually Aria and Ezra, who were in the original Pretty Little Liars, and this sort of connects the tissues even more. So in the end, we learned who A is. We learned that Tom was actually more involved in Angela's death, and was pretty much that clicking point that happened of it all happening, because he was sort of that trigger that led her into doing what she did, and so pretty much the one that had to pay the most. We also learned that A is actually Angela's brother, who was kept a secret, so it was like you could have never saw this coming at all. It was definitely pretty well kept under wraps. The only thing that you could have maybe guessed is that the principal was somehow involved, but this was definitely not something that I thought about either. So the principal, of course, being Angela and Archie's father as well, who was trying to get revenge on everything that happened to his daughter. But when you think about it, he sort of shunned them out of his life from the beginning. So it was more guilt than actual love, I feel, at the end of the day. And then we also learned that Chip was just the one who did all of this messed up stuff to Tabby as well as Imogen. In the end, he goes to jail but is let out on bail. But is he killed by A at the end of it all? That's definitely a question to be answered still. And we'll see what happens next, right? If they do a season 2 or not. The showrunner said that they wanted to end the season in a tight package that left no questions, but I still think we might have a couple of questions, so I'll definitely be covering that in my season 2 theories tomorrow, so stay tuned for that video. But as always, check out my video on American Horror Stories we did for Bloody Mary. You can find it in my channel by subscribing as well and hitting that notification bell to know when videos drop. We'll be covering some more stuff as well tomorrow. We have a video on Orphan First Kill as well as Beast, and we'll have a ton of other videos over the weekend as well, so don't want to miss out on that. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter. Cultural Elixir is the name. culturalelixir.com is our website where you can find more articles on the stuff you love. But as always, that is going to do it for me. Like I said, make sure you subscribe, notification bell on the road to 25,000 subscribers. Less than 300 to go to hit 24,000. Can we get there before the weekend? I think we can, so let's get to it. And as always, I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive. If you made it all the way to the end, really appreciate you keeping and watching to the end. Like I said at the beginning, make sure you subscribe and notification bell on. We have a ton of videos dropping over the weekend. Tomorrow we have a ton as well as our first podcast episode, so stay tuned for that. We've been trying to get it right, and I think we definitely are going to have something special planned, so stay tuned for that. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on the ending of Pretty Little Liars. If you want to see more videos on Pretty Little Liars, definitely let me know. We might do even a live show as well over the weekend talking about it and possible season 2 theories. If you want to see that, make sure you let me know below so I know if there's a demand for it. We'll definitely do it. But also make sure that you are hitting the subscribe and notification bell on so you never miss out on anything. Check out our American Horror Stories videos and let me know what other shows you're currently watching or should I watch and should I cover. I definitely always want to make more of a list, so I always have something to watch. So definitely let me know in the comments below what am I missing out on and what should I get on for sure. As always, I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.